They dropped this crate. It's a little sketchy.
We had a client watch one of our videos of the bar top we made for Launchpad, and they asked us to recreate it for their home. Instead of Buckeye burl like the other bar top that we made, this client wanted olive wood burl, and we had just received a large shipment from our friends at GL Veneer. However, all of these slabs still had their bark on the outside of them, and one thing with olive wood is that the bark tends to be quite stuck on those outside edges. So it's not usually as easy as just chipping it off and using a wire wheel. So that's why we opted to go to this sandblasting location. So this is just a place here in town where you can rent out all the equipment. They set you up in a space and you put on some protective gear and you get blasting. So it's a very messy process, but it saves us a huge amount of time when it comes to the cleaning of the edges.
Big arm sticking out. I just feel like that looks cheap. Oh, here, let's do this one.
Once we get these slabs back at the shop, we can begin the process of laying them out for the resin pour. So if you haven't seen our video of the Launchpad golf pieces, the idea with these slabs is that there's going to be LEDs all laid out beneath the burls themselves. So what we're doing at this moment is just cutting some straight edges on the outside of the pieces so that we can roughly line them up with the shape that our client wants for their bar top. Once we've got the slabs cut down to their rough size, we get them onto the CNC machine to flatten them before we put them in the mold for the resin pour. This is to clean off the rough saw marks that are on the surface and get off a lot of that dirt and debris that's trapped in any of the saw marks on that surface. These slabs were rough sawn around 3 inches thick, and they were dried pretty flat, so we're only losing about 1/2 inch during the flattening process. Although, since this bar top does require a certain height, we're not going to be able to use them in their full thickness right now, so we did go through a second flattening process that took them to around 2 1/4 inches for this resin pour.
There we go.
Then we have to refer back to the layout we sent to the client. We carefully place all these slabs in the mold, and we can begin mixing up some of our Black Forest deep resin for this pour. To let the maximum amount of LED light show through, this client just went for a very light tinted black resin pour. So to do that, we mix in 5 to 10 drops of our Color Effects black dye. We like this product specifically because it leaves the resin with maximum transparency. There's other dyes that we've tried before that, while they do change the color, they end up making the resin somewhat cloudy and you don't get this nice clear finish. Where with this product, it comes out very clear, all the bubbles come to the surface easily, and like I said before, it's going to let all that LED light shine through the surface. The other nice thing with our resin is that since it's designed to have a very slow cure, we're able to do large, thick pours like this in a single shot without the issues of overheating. Now, we do still cool our resin because it leaves the resin liquid for a longer period of time and allows more time for those air bubbles to come up to the surface. So there's a couple ways that we cool it. Number one, we have air conditioners in our room that are set to around 15 degrees Celsius. Then we have fans that blow on the surface to dissipate any of the heat that's created. And finally, we have our own liquid-cooled tables that we built and designed that circulate chilled water beneath the surface of the resin pour, and that helps pull out a lot of that extra heat created from these pours. Something this thick doesn't really require the liquid cooling, although it's still going to help reduce the amount of bubbles. But if you saw our previous video where we did that 4-inch thick table in the Pacific Palisades, that would not have been possible without the liquid cooling on a table of that size. Now, fortunately, since we've already built a bar top kind of like this, we kept the big pallet that we used to transport the Launchpad bar tops around. So the reason for this is just because a piece like this would be somewhat fragile. In the sections where we've got burl going all the way across the middle, we wouldn't really trust it to carry this piece on either end or just in the middle and put all of that weight on a single slab of burl. Now, it's totally fine given the application of this piece, since it is going to be a countertop that's going to sit on a flat surface, it's never going to get that kind of stress. But while moving it around our shop, it's something we had to be very, very careful of. And once we've got it downstairs, it's back onto the CNC again so that we can remove that excess layer of resin left from the initial resin pour. Our reason for doing the over pour, especially on a species like olive wood, is to try and fill in as many of the cracks and voids as we can with that initial pour. Now, even though we do this, as you'll see coming later in the video, there's still a massive amount of work that goes into filling all those other cracks that didn't quite get hit by that initial pour. Once we've got that layer taken off on our CNC machine, then we're going to our brand new SCM planer sander machine to not only plane it down to its final thickness, but also give it a sanded surface, which is going to reduce a lot of our labor in hand sanding. In this machine, we have 120 grit, 150 grit, and 180 grit sandpaper in there. So although we have 180 grit on that final belt, it doesn't exactly mean you can, let's say, go straight to 220 grit, but instead of us starting on 120 grit with our hand sanders, we can typically start around 150 or 180, whereas coming off the CNC machine, you absolutely cannot do that. Once it comes out of the sander, then we're going on to that hand sanding process I mentioned earlier, being able to start at a much higher grit than we did before. And here comes the labor-intensive process that I mentioned earlier of doing all the fills. On this piece, there was literally thousands of fills. I think Randy memorized every single growth ring and crack on these slabs. He spent so many hours looking at it. But it's an important process to get a nice, perfect finish when this piece is all finished up. And now we can begin our planning process for the LEDs. In order to do this, we're laying out some transparent tracing paper over the entire countertop and then carefully tracing the live edge of all of the burls. The reason for this is that we want our lights to only be beneath the burls so that we're not seeing any of those individual light sources showing through the surface afterwards. We'll get into more of the lighting process later, but before we do that, we want to get this bar top finished sanded and start applying the protective coating on the surface. So John's just taking care of any last little cracks and voids with our Black Forest CA glue, and then taking this surface up to 320 grit using a Mirka sander. And now we can begin applying our Black Forest LED UV Cure finish. So this is something, again, that I mentioned in a previous video that we have coming out very soon. I'll let you guys know where we're at with it. The labels have been finalized. The product is supposed to be showing up here within a week or so. And from there, it's going to get listed on our website and you guys will be able to purchase this for yourselves. It's an absolute game changer, especially if you're someone who does this for a living or even as a hobby where you sell some of your pieces. Time is money, and this product has given us so much time back in our shop that we never had before. We've been able to take a process that usually took a week or more and take it down into a couple of hours. Typically, we would have to apply a coat of oil, let it dry for 24 hours, and then after our final coat of oil, which usually was 3 coats, we would need it to cure for another week before we could come along and apply the ceramic coating. Whereas with this finish, you rub it on the same way you would our furniture oil, but then you use this UV lamp to cure it and it is instantly cured up. So then you can go ahead with your subsequent coats, or after your final coat, you can go straight into the ceramic coating. After we've applied 3 coats of our new finish, then we can go ahead and apply the ceramic coating. So we have a base coat and a top coat that we use for the ceramic coating. And the way that that works is the base coat actually dries harder and gives most of your scratch resistance. And the top coat is designed to be a soft, malleable coat over that protects your base coat. So one good comparison that I like to make is kind of how they put that softer PPF finish over the hard paint of cars to protect it.
We have some parchment paper that we transferred all our shapes of our burls on from the underside of the olive wood bar. And UTech just showed up and we're gonna lay it out onto this sheet of MDF that'll be our substrate. That way we can route out all the grooving for the wires to be hidden, and we'll be mounting the top white substrate on and then hopefully doing a full assembly of the bar top in shop, make sure it's good for on site, and then we'll ship it down and away from there.
So in order to integrate the lights into this bar top, we kind of have to do this layered construction. So we have a 3/4 inch sheet of MDF on the bottom, which you're watching John route into the surface of right now. And that's where all of the track, I'll call it, for our LEDs is going to be hidden. So all of our wiring is going to get ran through there, and it's going to come up in our set locations through an additional sheet of 1/8 inch MDF that we've painted white that sits over that surface. So the reason we've painted it white is because this is what's actually going to be visible through the surface of our resin pour. So we want to make sure we have something nice and clean and something that's also going to reflect the light quite well. So after figuring out where we need the wires to come up based on our tracing paper, we can then run these lights and transfer the lines from our parchment paper onto our white MDF, and then begin the process of laying out all these lights in the shape of the burls. Now, before we go down, it's always good to do a test to make sure that this actually looks good and all of our lighting works well. So we get the bar top lifted on, and here's our moment of truth. So now you can see that effect that I've been mentioning throughout this whole video. We have the light sources individually placed beneath the burls. It gives this effect that the burls themselves are glowing. So now we're gonna pack this thing in a crate, jump on a plane and fly down to Arizona and install this into our client's home. Okay, so we are here on site. We're down in Arizona. Both of our first time here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very beautiful, gorgeous property, and we're looking at the bar top that we're putting in here right now. So, what are we doing, John?
We're having some metal manufacturers metal clad the whole base cabinets, and then we're doing our full epoxy top, just like we did at Launchpad.
Yup,
It's
and
gonna be olive wood this time. It's gonna be beautiful.
so this is a quick before shot. We've got our work cut out for us now. We got to have this in for Christmas, and let's get to it. Well, we have just pulled up to the job site here in Tucson, Arizona. We're waiting for the truck to arrive. This one's a little scary. Not scary, but there's no real guarantee that the bar top was going to arrive in time. We're just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping it arrives when they said it was going to. We do have confirmation that it's at least in Arizona, but hopefully they're on time because we have to leave tomorrow and we have to get this job done tonight.
Okay, so you want the forklift over here, and you want the back end unloaded from here.
Yeah, I think
Because
ideally if
easy,
there's,
easy to run to. Okay.
exactly, if there's enough room, that would be best case. As you guys saw, John and I were down here in August. We took a look at this. We kind of knew what we were up against. They've got the metalwork installed, but if you guys come down here and take a look. Because this metalwork has been put in here, we've got a few screws that we can't quite reach. Fortunately, the client had a little tool for John, so he's gonna go a quarter turn at a time and get those screws out. And then the other thing we're finding, we did get all the screws out on these front pieces. However, they're glued. So now we gotta wait for our tools to show up. We'll get a pry bar in there and we will try and pry these things out. But they're stuck on there pretty good.
Forklifts here, and then the shipment is en route.
Well, at least it's here. We had it happen once. We went to Los Angeles for a delivery, same kind of thing. We're at the client's house, then we get a call. Oh, table went to Toronto.
Oh no.
Yeah, so then we had to fly back the next week. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that was Ed's table.
Yeah.
Okay, we got this guy first, which is good.
That's a big box right there. Yeah, that's big. Dylan, do you want to look at this before I take off if it's broken or not?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to open it first before we sign anything.
So we want to put it here and do it on the street then.
Yep.
Broke it off on both ends? Yeah, this one's missing the dunnage on this side. Completely.
Wow.
They dropped this crate. Take photos.
Yeah.
They may have dropped it there.
We're gonna have to manually support it as it comes down.
Yeah.
Alright, so just some more evidence on the crate here. We've also got damage underneath that we can see.
So that's what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna have to come down and lift the back end down.
Yeah. A little
I
sketchy.
think it's liftable. Tell me at least how far I am.
Alright, let's stop there.
Okay? So let's see what it's like to lift it right there. Like we've got to lift.
You guys didn't have the power.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, it's completely liftable.
Okay.
So we got to lift it. I'll walk
two
out.
on each
Let's get
side.
rid of this.
You guys have to.
Let me go back on your truck too, right? Tell me when. Okay.
Clear.
Okay. There you go.
Time the all day traffic. Let's get the all day. Get another drill going.
So we want to see what this is happening. They built it, yeah. And it's all screwed down with plywood, so you can pick it up from the end. Yeah. So to bust those off the back on each end, like it just terrifies me what could be going on sometimes. Yeah. To do that. We want to carry it in the house like this and what? Open it on the floor in the house.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we want to carry it wrapped.
And then if it's good to go, we'll let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, all right. Okay, up.
Okay, let's go. Vertical.
Who's going out first? Yeah, stay vertical.
Our side will go in first.
Yeah. Can we raise it?
Good. Beautiful.
Take a good close look at everything.
The only thing there would be cracks.
It would be a crack.
Yeah.
It's in one piece.
It's in one piece.
We're good.
No corners damaged.
How's that over there? That's got a lot of movement. The movement's insane.
Oh.
You know, the pictures really don't do it justice at all.
No, they don't.
They really
Impossible.
And this is olive wood from Italy, right?
It is.
Wow.
Yep.
It does actually look like it's floating in water, though.
It does.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's a came in one piece, thank God.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, just got to get it in, but that part we don't have.
Were you able to find the pry bar?
I haven't looked yet. Let me check it out.
And I might actually just run the cord along this drywall because the drywall is going to be easier for me to drill than this. So,
Okay, so we're here on site right now. We've got the team inside. They're working away on just prepping the area. We've already lifted off the temporary countertop. We've got our bar top lifted in. We've got the substrate lifted in. And now it's just preparing that area so we can run our wires, and as long as we measured everything correctly, this should be very easy. We could extend this hole up here.
I don't think I'm through. I think I'm hitting just this other wall.
Okay. Here, whereabouts are you? Just so I know. Like,
Line. So I'm right here.
you're right there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to move over a little bit.
Yeah, I see you. Oh, you got close to that water line, but you're good.
If you just screw beside it and then pull it.
The drill. Okay. Okay. All right, stay flat, boys. Something like that.
Yeah, guys, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because those will squish a little too, right?
Yeah. Let's grab the electric so we can plug it in. Make sure it's good. Some of our wires were loose, so I replugged it in. Let's see if it works. Perfect. Perfect. Go. Perfect. Sure that. There we go. Okay, I'm actually getting full color now. I don't know the full controls on this, so just trying to figure out that.
So what are you guys doing right now?
Trying to find our studs. So all of this cladding essentially has been put on the outside of the framework for this bar. And we have a photo of where the studs are roughly located. And there's also some marks on the top of this pony wall. So we've just elevated it up on foam, and now we can kind of see what we're working with.
Well, we got to mount some brackets to support the actual weight of the countertop out here. And so the brackets need to be screwed into a stud going into the wall to give us proper support.
I know these ones, yeah. You drinking?
I'm gonna do some marketing stuff with these guys.
Well, actually,
North on the other side.
sorry.
We're gonna try and land it there. We need someone on the inside to kind of catch. All right, we're gonna go around.
And like I said, it's about a ½ inch everywhere, right? No, keep coming. Keep coming, keep coming.
Okay, put her down
This way a
there.
bit. Okay, set her down.
Let's grab tapes and measure it now. You go to this side. We're a little proud over here. Like a 3/4.
Wow. That's pretty
Each
sweet.
one glows.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks cool too.
Yeah. A life for every season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day. Yeah, you guys killed
You
this.
got a different topic.
Is this cool? Louis, is this cool? You guys killed this, man. Let's take a lift.
This is very
As long as it's under,
flimsy.
as long as it's under 10 pounds, I'm fine.
So it should just overlap like that.
Yep.
Okay.
my opinion only. It looks like you have like, this is a water, like an ocean or whatever, there's stuff floating in there.
Yeah. And he likes it too.
Yeah, Dylan said you can do the switch, there's a remote there too that you can dial in.
LED strips on here too. Like the last project for the golf course that you would have saw had 80 light sources per meter.
Yeah.
This has 800 per meter.
It's super smooth. I don't know you well enough, but I think that fits. Yeah.
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Actually, one more.
Well, after a long day's work, here we are. We're in the client's house. We got the bar top installed. We got to enjoy some lovely drinks with them, and just a huge hats off to our client, of course, for trusting us with this, and then also the contractor, Frank, for commissioning us to build this and seeing the value in what we could offer. And just to recap for you guys what we've done here, so this is the Italian olive wood burl that we sourced from our friends at GL Veneer. They sawed all of this, they dried it, they sent it to us, and then we paired it with a tinted black Forest deep resin. We finished it with our Black Forest Furniture LED UV cure oil, and then we've topped everything off with the coat of our Black Forest ceramic coating. And UTech also came through and supplied all of the LED lights on this project, and honestly, this is probably the nicest bar top that we have ever done. You guys have seen one that we've done in the past, and we think that we really like the olive wood that's in this bar top, but we'd absolutely love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Let us know if you like this bar top or if you like the one we did previously, and let us know what you would have done for yours. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
And he did that off a few drinks. So.
One shot, not bad.
That's not bad.
The only thing, Dylan, you forgot that come to Raj's place, here's the address.
Oh yeah.
Free drinks for everyone. Yeah.